All right, folks, welcome back inside the TriX57.com studios. And again, this is Double Jab Boxing Podcast, powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. We are at the playground at the pier. Rich Quiñones alongside my broadcast partner, Rob Scott, and special guest, an inductee come May, into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. A great fighter, a great nickname, by the way, the Camden Buzzsaw, former light heavyweight champ Dwight Qawi. And always good to catch up with you, champ. How you been?
Good.
And first and foremost, I mean, congratulations on the induction in the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. I know
Thank you.
many memories, but when you got that call to the hall, what were your first thoughts?
Here we go again.
International Boxing Hall of Fame as well. That's right.
But I'm always these guys putting on a great show. You've got a lot of other guests coming down. You know, big hitters. Rick Bowe and all them. I'll be glad to see him, man. It's be like a homecoming. So I'm thrilled. I'm excited. And you guys bring back memories, man. Good memories of the ring, and at that time. And I know a lot of people long for those times again. And there was a lot of skill, and people were sincere. And I'm not saying that today they're not, but it was good. It was good back then. So.
Well, you say we're bringing back memories, but you were a participant in a lot of those memories. Tell us on your memories of Atlantic City Boxing, and because you had some of your best victories here, you had some of your toughest fights here. Just tell us how you feel about Atlantic City and the history of Atlantic City boxing.
Well, I've said earlier, you couldn't write a script better. I had no amateur career. I just started boxing, off the persuasion of a friend, and I was no amateur fights. I had my first fight, and most of my fights was here in Atlantic City. So when the casinos opened up, it was open. Boxing was open for boxing. For a guy like me that needed some directions at that time, or financially, if it was a great fit for me. All I had to do was be sincere, work hard, and learn my trade, and I was teachable. But it was like the beginning. And it was like the beginning for me, and it just fell in place. It was fate. It was just fate for me, and I was successful. And a lot of great fights here. I had some losses here, heartbreaks, and just it was bittersweet. It's bittersweet.
You bounced back though.
Yeah, I bounced back in a lot of. I bounced back in life. Boxing means that much to me. Means so many different things for me. It represents my life even sometimes. I've heard this song, this Christian song. I heard on the radio not too long ago. And it said, a saint is nothing but somebody got down, knocked down, and he got back up. So that's the story of a lot of people. And when I took my name, Qawi the Strong, that's how I saw it. Not just in the ring physically, but in life. I had to be strong and durable. Tenacious, and boxing, it was a reflection of that, of who I was, and I fought like that. I took you to the bitter end. You either say you tapped out. I was tapped out before tap out.
You kind of had an inauspicious start to your career, though, right? 1-1-1, which is it's not the sexy record to start after 3, but then all of a sudden, I think you reeled off like 13 or 14 in a row, and that's when you it seemed as though, okay, here we go, and then you had the chance. The WBC World Light Heavyweight title against Michael Spinks. But,
that's right.
You
right.
would say a lesser boxer, maybe a guy who's not as mature, not as humble or hungry, 1-1-1, maybe say, this isn't for me.
That's what happened. I was I had one loss, one win, one draw, and I went to New York City, and I fought a guy who was 4-time Golden Glove champ named Johnny Davis. And he still talks stuff, but I came back, beat him twice. But I was 1-1-1, and that night I'm a street fighter. I come hard, I go hard, and I had knots on my head. I got on the train coming back. The people thought I won, but I made it a hard fight. So I told my trainer at the time, coming back, I said, man, this is a hard way to make a living, man. I said, if I want to keep doing this, you got to teach me some skills. Can you do that? And he said, yes, we can do that. So I went to work, and I ripped off straight to the title. Yeah. I ripped off like 16 wins. And he kept his end of the bargain, and I kept my end of the bargain. So yeah, it was funny that I was at a crossroad, 1-1-1. I could say I can be an opponent, just do it halfway, or all in, and I was all in.
Well, you basically you basically started out. You basically started out like you said. You got back on the horse, and you never gave up. But boxing is different from what boxing used to be back in the days, money wise. But it's also different in the sense of how can I say it? It's not only money wise, but also as far as like the competition wise or what have you. You've made your mistakes not only in life, but you also made your mistakes as far as your boxing business thing. We're about to have two guys come on the show that are up and coming who are just as tenacious as you were back in the days. What do you have to say to them as far as, do you have any advice for them to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that you've made in your past from a boxing business standpoint and from an in-ring standpoint?
Well, just be true to yourself, just be sincere. It's hard. It's hard once you get there. I see not only boxers, but I see other athletes, entertainers. We heard of them recently. They fall. They make mistakes. You slip. Learn from it. And listen. Be teachable, not only in the ring, but be teachable outside the ring. Don't be cocky, because how they say it, pride goes before the fall of it.
Sure.
So all those kinds. This is just typical stuff that you do. You just got to check yourself and have good advisors around you. That's my suggestion. All that good stuff. But just take your time. Be patient. Be patient. You make me think about when I got to the top. Say like for instance with Holyfield. Okay, let me use Holyfield. I knew, I watched him on TV, he fought my sparring partner on ABC. He couldn't even go 4 rounds, 6 rounds. No way, I thought he was going to go 15 rounds with me. He went 15 rounds, and I could tell you why he shouldn't have, because he stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks after the fight. I trained hard, but sometimes, things is in the game, things don't go the way you want them to go. They put me on the shelf. We should have came right back and had a fight. Maybe wait a year and a half, 2 years. Those kind of things is like, they mean it, and they get to you. So it's not only what's external, but it's also what's internal. How you hold up like that, and just a lot of things. I think they should have conversations a lot, serious conversations about things like that, reflect.
How about some of the success you had, because you fought so many times down here in Atlantic City, but you go to the Rossman fight, you go to the first fight against Mavusai Muhammad, and I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that first fight when you knocked him out the old Playboy Hotel and Casino, but to hold up a belt, to be crowned world light heavyweight champ, to do it in that fashion. These are two great warriors that you'll also go into the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame with in May, and I'm sure you guys will share a lot of stories. But Saeed Muhammad was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful boxer. It just one of my favorites. Just having an opportunity. The little that I was able to remember and watch him, but to be crowned a champion, to do it in Atlantic City, talk about some of those battles and some of those wars with those fighters.
Well, first of all, you couldn't have written a script for my career better than what happened. Thank God. I was in the right place at the right time. I had no amateur career. I went to the title in 3 years. Back then, Olympians wasn't doing that.
That's right.
And I was put in each time as an opponent, and I came out the winner. And I came back to ESPN. I won the ESPN tournament. I was the champion of that. They promised me a network fight. I fought Mike Rossman, great fighter. Knocked him out in the 7th. Then I went to James Scott. I went in prison for James Scott.
Rahway, yeah.
In Rahway prison, and it was mimicking really the penitentiary movie. Person go back in the thing, and for real, it was like life imitating art. Yeah. And it was funny, but I got through that. And things was moving for me. And when I got right there with Saad, my confidence was so big, and my trainer, 2 great smart trainers I had, Wesley Mozart and Quinzel McCall. And Quinzel told me, he said, listen, this guy can box. He used to could box, but he want to knock everybody out. So what are you going to do? He's going to be right in front of you. He said, that's your fight. And he was right. and he stayed right in front of me, it was sad because he's a nice guy, and we became great friends afterward.
Yeah.
But he was really a nice guy. I wish I had got Spinks first, and got some of those ribs. But he ran, Spinks got a way of running, looking back at you, smiling. I never seen nobody run that way. I'm gonna ask him about that when he come down. But
yeah, and it's unfortunate too when we lost Muhammad back in 2014. How about last 15-round championship fights? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we already know what transpired back in the 80s with the Mancini fight, but I mean, you try to relate to going 15 rounds today.
Yeah.
You got to have a little gumption,
yeah,
right?
It's gut check time, as they say. And I remember Ali said something. I think he made mention of he had a burning in the stomach. When I was fighting Holyfield, I had that same burning. And I don't know how he kept running like that and how he took 3 steps to my 1. Because my plan was to slow him down, and I did. The 5th round, 4th round, he was slow, he was done. I was licking my lips, man. I said, we got him. I came back out, he started running. And, it's a mystery. A lot of fights is mystery. Ali in the right hand with Liston, they're going to stay mysteries, right? But, I gave my best. Good, bad, and indifferent, I gave my best. And, coulda, woulda, shoulda, ifs, deal with it. I just gave my best. I got people coming up to me right now and say to me, when I went to when I go places with boxing, fans are there, they say, for your size and your ability and what you did, you're the greatest fighter ever. Because I took a lot of jabs from the big guys. Yeah, I mean, they never saw that before. And, so I'm proud of my career. I had a great career. And like my manager told me, and he was so true in saying it, he said, the only one going to beat you is you.
Well, you were light heavyweight champion, and like I said, you got back on the horse and you went up and you won the WBA cruiserweight championship.
I had weight problems. I'm telling you, man, if I breathed too hard, I would gain weight.
Well, but at the same time, you gained weight, but at the same time, you didn't gain height.
Yes.
So, and you fought bigger fighters. You even went up to heavyweight and you fought Big George Foreman.
I fought 2.5 weeks notice. Or was it 1.5? No, 2.5 weeks notice. I fought Big George.
Well, but let's face it. I mean, even the older version of George, if you fight the older version of George, you can get 2 months amount of training or whatever, but he's a big guy.
Yeah, but I did good. I did real good with him.
Punch.
And I was winning. I was winning. And by a lot of accounts, just from savvy and skill.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was good. I wanted to really knock him out. But I saw that I was getting tired, exhausted, and fatigued. It wasn't worth it.
Did you find your punch going with you as you went up?
My punch, and the thing that didn't go with me as much was speed, which is the snap.
But they always say you always have your power, no matter what.
But you do have that. But my power was a lot of was speed. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I would crack it. You know what I mean? I'd turn it over like that. You know? So I would turn it over, and when I would turn punches over, man, that was a good night. And so when I lost that, I lost the snap, I lost the speed, but I still did good. Still did good. I pummeled the guy, and I would, and I would win that way.
But you have to compensate too sometimes, because if you're 5'7", 5'8", fighting, if you're light heavy and you're going against guys 6'1", 6 foot, you got to establish that jab early on. You almost got to kind of bait them to come in to go to the body a little bit, right? I mean, it's tougher when you go against taller opponents sometimes.
It is.
It's got to be frustrating too.
But I learned how to compensate for that. What I did, it was my footwork, my feet. I would step with my jab. A lot of guys reach. I learned how to step. There's science involved. And I would get in their face with the jab, behind the jab.
But you also had, sort of like
upper body movement.
Yeah, I guess what I was about to say. You can compare you with Joe Frazier to a certain degree. You can move. One of the videos that's out that it's always shown is how you made Leon Spinks miss all those shots in that corner. That's something that the bottom line is, if you can't. If the guy's bigger than you, I mean, a lot of people take those punches, whatever. But if you don't have to, then why take them?
Don't.
You definitely
That's the thing about boxing
today,
today, man, that I don't like, is that the skill is missing. I love the guys from before. Archie Moore. He was interviewing one time. He said he was walking down the street and how he fell in love with boxing. He seen a silhouette in the gym behind the curtain, and he saw their movement, and he fell in love with it. And he was like that. He was
amazing how many rounds Archie Moore boxed throughout his career.
But he had size and skill, man, and that's the kind of guys I watch. You know.
Before we got to hit a break and before we let you get out of here, we can talk boxing with you all night. I'm just curious as we wrap it up. Just my last one for you. Do you follow? I know you do. You train a little bit here and there, but do you follow the fight game a lot anymore, or is it
somewhat? And you know, it's not like I say the skill is missing. You know, the old trainers and stuff. Like I came around, a lot of old trainers was there, and guys knew what they was doing. This is serious, you know. This is serious, and if you don't have the fundamentals and basics, it's going to catch up with you. It's going to catch up with you, you know. So that you need to learn your skill. I dedicated myself, man, and real quick. When I was coming up, I lived in Camden, of course, from Camden. And I came, and I used to go to Doylestown and work out. I ran during my lunch break, came back, stopped at Joe Frazier and trained. I did that for like a year. Yeah. I was dedicated, and I learned, man. I was a student, man.
That's baptismal by fire, right? That's old school, cutting your teeth a little bit.
I was dedicated, man, and I was a good student.
Well, listen, congratulations. We already know you're International Boxing Hall of Fame. Congratulations on the induction in the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Certainly love to get you back on, but we appreciate it, and you had a great career. Always good to catch up and talk a little boxing with you.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, you got it. Dwight Qawi joining us for a couple moments. We'll take a quickie time out. Again, you're watching Double Jab Podcast powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Rich Quiñones, Rob Scott. And again, we're coming at you live on Tri-X 57 in the heart of Atlantic City. When we come back on the other side, we'll switch gears. We'll talk a little local boxing. We got a couple good fighters stepping up, having a fight down at the Claridge on Saturday. We'll get into that as well. Double Jab Podcast powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame continues right after this.